Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. So today's video is going to be my green fragrances in my collection. These are fragrances that not only are the bottles green, well, not all of them, but most of them. They either have like a green note, maybe green accord, or green nuances in the fragrances, or they just evoke the color green. Because some of them don't have a greenness listed, but for whatever reason, I get a green feeling. There are perfumes that for some reason make me feel like a certain color, like the color of white. I do have a few purple perfumes. Dennis started that trend. And then I do have quite a few green fragrances. I'm not gonna go into the notes of these fragrances. I'm just gonna quickly describe them and let you know what it is that gives me that green feeling. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so the first three we're gonna go over are fragrances that they don't list having a green note or greenness, but to me, they do evoke that feeling. So the first fragrance is Chanel Chance Eau Fresh. And if you guys saw my first thoughts of this fragrance has always reminded me of Irish Spring, the soap. I will say that I never used to really pick up on the floral notes that are in here, but now I actually get the original Chance DNA, the indolic white flowers that I get in the original Chance, I do get in all of its flankers, but this one leans more on a fresh side. It's got a greenness that's coming from, I don't know if it's bergamot, but there's just something fresh, bright, and a little green. Again, like Irish Spring soap. And again, that's Chanel Chance Eau Fresh. Another fragrance that falls into that category, but whereas Eau Fresh to me leans more floral, this one's more of your woody musk. And that is Versace Valsance. I'm so mad my plate fell, but this one falls in that same soapy category, but it's a little bit more musky and woody in the base. Also, the greenness in this one is more lime, where I find Eau Fresh to again remind me of Irish Spring soap. This one reminds me of fresh out of the shower, but it's got the citrus in it that's a little bit leaning more on the lime side than I would say like lemon or orange. This leans a little bit more lime, even though they don't list lime. I believe there's bergamot. And this one is just, again, woody and musky. So the first three I'm going to talk about, they don't really list like a green accord, but they do list like fresh or fresh spicy. And to me, that can either go like green, like bergamot, citrus, lime, or it can go fresh, like aquatic, a little bit more blue. These are definitely more green, which is why I think the bottles and the color of these are green anyways. So again, that is Versace Valsance. Okay, and then next we have Burberry Herbort, the Eau de Toilette. This one, I would say it's more of the fruity notes. I believe this one has pear. Yeah, my mouth is watering. Even though they don't list rhubarb, this has that tartness that I get from rhubarb. I get that in here. So for me in this one, it's definitely the pear, and again, something kind of sour. This also has Lily of the Valley, which to me has a greenness to it. It's a little bit more of a dewy green, white floral. And again, that is Burberry Herbort, the Eau de Toilette. I would say this is a fresh, bright, fruity pear fragrance. All right, and then next, we're gonna go over fragrances that have that rhubarb. So this isn't the one that has rhubarb. This is Marc Jacobs Perfect, and this is the Eau de Toilette, and I have a review on this one that I posted. I'll have that link below because this one is more green in a kind of herbal sense. Like, this isn't overly herbal, but it's there. But it also has kind of a sour green, I don't want to say tart. It is not as tart as the Eau de Parfum, which is my favorite. This one, there's something slightly sour, but it's a little bit more green on the herbal side. Now, the Eau de Parfum, This one is green from the rhubarb note. And I wanted to talk about this one, Dolce & Gabbana's L'Imperatrice 3 and Delena. Now I have quite a few fragrances with the rhubarb note, so I'm sure there are more that can go into this category, but I'm going to talk about these three. Delena's one that every time I mention a greenness, there's always someone who says it's not green. And it's funny because the first time I reviewed Delena, it was when I was kind of starting this hobby. This is definitely a hobby for me. I'm not a professional. I'm very much just here to chat with you guys and talk about perfume and give you my thoughts. So when I first reviewed Delena, I said there was a greenness, but it wasn't like grass. I think I said it wasn't like a grass green, but there's something green about it. But that's when I didn't know about the note of rhubarb. I didn't really research each individual note, but now that I have, I know that that's where the greenness comes from. Usually when I say that Delena has a greenness to it, I always have someone that says no. There is a sour green note, and I get it in the Delenas, I get it in L'Imperatrice 3 and in Marc Jacobs Perfect. So I kind of wanted to talk about those three all together. And again, I'm sure there are other fragrances that I'm missing that have rhubarb, because that has become very, very popular, that kind of adding rhubarb to fragrances. All right, then next we have Dylan Blue. And this fragrance to me evokes more blue than it does green, but this does have a very, very prominent green apple note. So that is the greenness that I get in this one. Kind of like the apple note that you get in Donna Karan's New York Bee Apple. But this one's a little bit more shampoo-y. It's more modern. It's you know, newer than Donna Karan's New York. That one's older. And again, this one's just shampoo-y, like when you think of like Herbal Essence or those kind of green shampoos. But there is something nautical and kind of blue about this fragrance as well. But the green apple is undeniable in this scent. So that's why I did want to include it. And again, that is Versace's Dylan Blue. Okay, a newer one to my collection is Black Opium, and this is Elicit Green. Now this one, it's not an overly green fragrance. To me, this is a little bit more, yeah, I really get the coffee in this one on the paper. On my skin, it's not as strong. It's more of a black coffee, but it's the fig leaf in here. This has fig and fig leaf. So the greenness is coming from the fig leaf, but I also get a creamy, nutty fig scent. So this one, even though the bottle is green and they have a green accord, is very subtle to me. This one isn't overly green, but this is another one. This is Black Opium Elicit Green. Okay, and then next we have Floral Botanica by Balenciaga. And this is such a unique floral. I don't know how a scent could be so dewy and dry at the same time. But this has like a dewy, floral freshness to it, but then it's also a dry scent to my nose. Like I've said this before, like if you've ever taken a deep breath of cold air and your nose kind of, your sinuses dry out, this has that. I don't know if it's the cannabis plant that's in here or what that's doing it, but this one is also dewy, but very dry. It's also very cooling from the mint. So the green in here is coming definitely from the mint and the cannabis plant. Like this has a kind of plant-like scent to it. Yeah, this one's very green, but different. It's not your tart green. It's not your pear green. It's a more cool, minty green. And then again, a little plant-like. So that is Floral Botanica by Balenciaga. All right, another minty fragrance. We have Aqua de Joya by Giorgio Armani. And this, again, has that kind of cooling, minty greenness to it. This one, like Dylan Blue, is a little bit aquatic, even though I don't think they say aquatic, but there is something aquatic in this one. But yeah, this one is citrusy. This is fresh, but it's got that cooling mint feeling to it. I pick up more of the mint in Floral Botanica, but I do get it in this one. Just think of after you brush your teeth and you kind of take a deep breath. That's somewhere in here in both of the fragrances. It's just that cool, minty scent. And again, that is Aqua de Joya by Giorgio Armani. Okay, then next we have Marc Jacobs Decadence, Oh So Decadent. Now I know that the original one is in that darker green bottle, but this one's more green to me. This one is the Lily of the Valley. The Lily of the Valley is kind of green, white floral. It's watery, yeah. And when you think of Lily of the Valley, you think of an open pasture. It's green. I've always said that this reminds me of like Ireland, what Ireland would be like. Like I feel like that's what this smells like. And every time I've described it, I've always mentioned like that very green park. This is just pastures of green and Lily of the Valley. Yeah, that's this one. Lily of the Valley tends to do that to me. So this one's green with Lily of the Valley, and so is the next one. But again, that is Marc Jacobs Oh So Decadent. Okay, another Lily of the Valley scent is Lucky by Christian Dior. And this is got like a very light green liquid that you really can't see. The name Lucky. Yeah, this is extremely Lily of the Valley. This is a scent that Dennis doesn't really like because he says it smells overly floral. He says it smells too flowery, is how he says it. But this is dewy. This is like after the rain kind of Lily of the Valley scent. And Lily of the Valley is considered a green white floral with like a very cool undertone to it. But this to me is after it rains kind of Lily of the Valley. So again, that is Lucky by Christian Dior. And then last we have to me the greenest fragrance in my collection. And that is Mugler's Aura, and this is the Eau de Toilette. Now I did own the Eau de Parfum, but I didn't like the green notes with the vanilla. I still get it a little bit in this one. It's not as heavy, but the green in the Eau de Parfum with the vanilla, it came out very root beer to my nose. This one, even though I get it a little bit, this is more sour again and a little bit more shampoo-y. I do prefer this over the Eau de Parfum. The greenness in this one's coming from the bergamot. Again, there's a rhubarb note in here, and then there's actual green notes in this one. This one reminds me of all things green. This one reminds me of, if you've ever seen J-Lo's Waiting for Tonight video, I've mentioned that. Also, Mac Turquatic is another one that kind of reminds me of that video. This reminds me of several movies like Romancing the Stone. I also mentioned this one reminding me of Monster Squad, the girl holding the green amulet, One Red Sonja, even Maleficent, even though I would not pair this fragrance with Maleficent. It does remind me of the top of her staff, and I've had subscribers tell me the same thing. So this is to me probably the most green fragrance out of all the ones I'm going to talk about. And again, that is Aura, the Eau de Toilette by Mugler. But those are my top green fragrances in my collection. These are the fragrances that either have a green note, a green accord, or they just evoke that feeling of green. And I do feel like perfume companies do play on that when they do bottle designs and they do like the color of the liquid. I do feel like that's what they want to evoke as well. So I think it's very intentional with a lot of these fragrances. So let me know in the comments below, what are some of your top green fragrances? But that will do it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.